What's up, y'all? We're back with another Feature Friday episode. I'm your host, Aaliyah Arab Smith.
And I'm your co-host, Trevor Silver.
And this season, Season 2, is brought to you by the Supporting Black Canadian Communities Initiative, administered by the Black Business Initiative. So today's guest, we have DeRico.
Yeah, good friend, good community leader. We'll let him introduce himself.
Sure. DeRico Symonds, 8th generation African Nova Scotian. So my father's from North Preston, grandfather's from Upper Hammonds Plains. My mom is from Mulgrave Park. My grandmother originally from Truro, but moved to Beachville, so Beachville.
Okay. Shout out all the communities.
Yeah, and I grew up in the pubs at Bears Westwood, and I live in Lucasville.
Awesome. So you say 8th generation. What does 8th generations entail? Like, how do you guys...
Yeah. So with the support of Pastor Leonard Anderson, he actually gave me some of the lineage on that side. So I believe it would be 1802, 1804. And as far back, there would have been Jones. I was trying to find that information I had recently. But yeah, I would have been back that far. And I don't have the North Preston side, but I know that that's deep. I know that's got to run real deep. And yeah, I would say just for employment, I work for the African Nova Scotian Justice Institute, Director of Engagement and Justice Initiatives. We can get into what that means later on. And I, small business owner, I'd say small firm, Ignite Consulting, People, Purpose, Passion. I'm a father of two, Cairo Kasai. Got a dog too. I got to shout him out too. Partner Shanae Parsons. I do what I can. Nationally certified therapist. So I have my Canadian counselling certification. Undergrad child and youth study, Masters of Education, Afrocentric cohort in counseling. I do what I can in community.
Yeah, he definitely got a crazy resume.
Yeah, impressive resume. Oh my goodness, you guys. Like, we read the resume before this episode. Man, this guy got an extensive list. So I feel like what he highlighted is a fraction of all the amazing stuff that you have.
0.5.
Right? Like 0.5 of it. But yeah, no, for sure. So maybe we could start with you just describing like your upbringing and what brought you to where you're at today.
Yeah, so I would definitely say, like, I try to explain to people that like growing up in public housing for me and my experience is like, it's something you can't, like, it's different. Like, it's very, very different. The things that you're exposed to, the things that you experience, it's like that shaped a lot of the trajectory that I went into. I would go to the recreation center, St. Andrews Recreation Center. That would kind of maybe my introduction into kind of like what I wanted to do. And my upbringing really started, public housing, two brothers at the time. I have three now, but two brothers at the time. We were poor. We didn't, but here's the thing though, what I say about that is like, I actually didn't know we were poor until I left the house. Cause like my mom did a really good job, in terms of like what she had to do, working jobs, doing whatever else she had to do just to make sure, we had what we needed. There was times where she wouldn't eat, but she just pretend like she just wasn't hungry because like I was a hungry kid. Like I would eat a lot. And so, it was a challenging upbringing, but like it was an experience that helped really shape my path because like I'm really big on thank yous, and I'm big on like just being humble and it's just like appreciating. I appreciate all the things that I have. Like if you've, like I always say thank you. Like even if it's like an email, like, oh, thanks. Like there's no need to even, like I really appreciate it. So yeah, starting there, and I would say being exposed to the things that I was exposed to, friends going to jail, people involved in, drugs and all that kind of thing like that, selling, using, and just seeing the things that I saw like as a kid. I always felt like, I just always felt like I had a higher purpose. Like I just felt like that. Yeah. And I know that people are people will take that as arrogance, but I'm confident in my abilities. And so like I would be around certain things, but I always knew like this ain't it. Like, I can still hang with my friends. I can still be around certain things, but like I'm going somewhere. And I would say a big thing for me was basketball at the time. Was a large part of my upbringing, and I laugh about it because like I would be at the court just like dreaming the most, like I swear, like I would be like for real, like I would be like basketball for me was like the therapist that I could afford because I just needed a ball on the court, and I would go there. Things would happen at the house, or I would experience things, and I would go to the court. Like I remember a time like I actually just ran suicides until I couldn't walk. Because I was just so upset. Like I just ran, and I just went to the court, and I was just like tearing up. I was just running, just because like what else was I gonna do with that type of energy? But I also like when I think back, so I thought it was the ticket out. So like I was at the court, and I swear every single time a car drove by, I'd be doing all the moves. Like I would be doing layups. I'd be trying to dunk. Because in my mind, I'm like, man, a car could stop, and it could be like a coach.
A scout or something. Yeah, I feel that too.
That's crazy.
They would stop, and I'm like, I'm hoping that someone could stop, and they'll like, this would be my way out. And so, my upbringing really started there. And I think like it formed a lot of the habits, a lot of the morals, a lot of the values that I have today. Because I have a real appreciation for people being resilient, but people who are struggling, people who are going through challenges. I have a real appreciation for that because I understand what it's like to really come out of there. And like it takes a special type of focus to really like come up out of those particular situations because there's just so many things, just so many like, I would say pull factors, right? Like if I don't got it and I want it, well, I need to figure out a way to get it.
Yeah.
And that could be a couple different ways. And if I don't got it and I see somebody with it and I'm like, oh, well, how you get that? And then, you know what I mean? And then you can get pulled into particular lifestyle. And so like, it takes a special, just like a real deep focus. And I think a lot of dreaming to kind of like come up out of those situations. And that's why like, I really empathize with, young people and families who struggle today. So, I would say it started there. In public housing. You
said that like well, it sounds like you had positive outlets from a young age. Where do you feel like you got? Because like if you're frustrated or you're mad at somebody, you went to basketball, and it's like, was that learned or was that like something that was intuitive? Like
so it wasn't always positive. Like I wasn't so the person I am today took like I had to go to hell to get here. Like I had to go to hell, and like I just still like a lot of things that I work through today. But the thing is that definitely I would say it was learned, but it was also like trial and error because like I didn't have the words to put to that. If a friend of mine got angry and did this, like I wouldn't be able today. I could describe it, but I just saw what the outcome was. Oh. Okay, well, he got mad and he crashed out and he did this.
Foresight.
Yeah. And so I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna just go to the court. It was the thing that I had the control over. I could control that situation. So I could control, I'm gonna go to the basketball court and I'm gonna expend this energy and I'm gonna let it out because like there's no therapist coming and, there was no one like coming to my aid, come and hug or help me. So I had to kind of like try to figure it out the best way that I knew how. And the best thing I knew how at the time was basketball. Now there was definitely at the rec center, like some people that were in my corner for sure. But I would just say maybe through trial and error, like, cause there was a lot of times where I would just go off. But basketball was where I was able to sort of channel that sort of that energy. Yeah.
Because it's like the foresight gave you the self-control, which led to obviously a lot of your successes now. One of the things that you spoke about earlier was you're grateful, your gratitude and being thankful for a lot of things. That's something I would like. I'm into that as well, and I'm interested to learn like maybe where that may have came from.
Yeah, man. Because bro, if your ribs is touching and you hungry, like for real, like if you're hungry, like if your power gets cut off, if you don't got, when you get it, like people can really treat that one of two ways. Like you can be a glutton and you can take and never give back. Or you can take just enough for yourself and make sure you're spreading out as whatever you can for other people. Because like the reality is like there's enough for everybody to eat. There's enough for everybody to sit at the table. It's just a matter of like if you're gonna feed them or not. And so, you know, I'm really a person who I appreciate the things because I know what it's like not to have it. And so I think you always got to continue to remind yourself like, okay, I'm here, but like I haven't always been here. And with the flip of a switch, you can go back to where you were because like nothing's promised. And so, you know, I always had the mindset of like, I'm going to take everything that's owed to DeRico Symonds, nothing more, nothing less, and then I'm going to give back whatever I can to make sure that anybody else can eat too. Because I believe in like lift as you climb. And like you can ask anybody that I grew up with, like, you know, I was known for basketball, I was known for school. And, you know, but I would always be trying to be like, why are you doing that? But like, maybe you can, and it worked with some people, it didn't work with others. But I was always trying to just give whatever I could, all the time. Like when I started working, when I got a job, like I was giving people sneakers. Like cause like, bro, I had a rough go in junior high. Like but I know you remember the M1s where it was like one color, it was suede and it was red and the other color was white. The Tai Chis maybe they might have been called.
I remember them AM1. Do you even know what AM1 is?
I think ain't they the sneaker?
By your time they were like gone.
But I know the sneaker, for basketball and stuff.
Like they were my basketball shoes, they were my everyday shoes, and then my winter boots. And like I'm telling you,
all season,
all season tires. And so by the time like I got to the basketball court, like they were ruined, they were ruined, and like I got made fun of so bad about my shoes that I like once I started being able to work, that'll never happen to me again. It's never gonna happen to me again. And any opportunity that I was able to get, like I would give shoes. I've given shoes. But it's not an announcement. It's just like, you know, here, because I know what that's what that's like.
That feeling.
And you know, I know, you know, I can't speak for women, but I know what it's like as a man, like, and as a young man especially, to be able to just like put on a clean pair of shoes. Like it gives you a certain sense of purpose and dignity. To put on a fresh pair. So it's always I mean, grateful. I would just say came from like just like not having. Like I know what that feeling. I know what that feels like. And like poverty, like it sucks. Like it's in all ways. Like it's terrible. And so once you get out, like you got to look back. Like you got to look back and you got to lift as you climb. And if you're all the way out, you just have a moral responsibility to do something. Especially in the African Nova Scotian community. I mean, you know, I wouldn't be here, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the people before us. And so, you know, what I would say is that, you know, the ancestors ran as far and as fast as they could with the baton. And then when their time was up, they left it in the best place possible. And so I just take it as my responsibility. I'm going to grab that shit and I'm going to run as far and as fast as I can and leave it in the best place possible for whoever's going to pick it up after me. And part of that is giving back. Part of that is being grateful.
Yeah, 100%. I resonate with that a lot because I find the more you are grateful, the more you can be grateful for, and the more you're able to give. And to me, it's like if there's no magic in the universe, that is the magic, is being able to recognize the things that you have, the things that you might be privileged to have, and to be able to be grateful. You know what I mean? And it's like some people, they don't practice gratitude, so they're not recognizing all of the things like their breath. They're able to have a home. They're able to clean themselves. They're able to have some clean clothes. You know what I mean? There's little things that people don't recognize that they can be grateful for. And
it's gratitude, everything.
Yes.
Everything. Yeah. Even in the most dire situation, you can find something to be grateful for in that situation. At the worst, there's something that you can be happy about. There's something you can be grateful for.
Yeah, we're grateful to have you on here talking.
Yeah, facts.
Grateful to be
Grateful
here.
to have you on
Yes,
here.
yes.
For real, no, I think that's important. The values that you're mentioning, like the being grateful and stuff, I think that's really important. That's something I resonate with as well. Depending, no matter what situation it is, finding something to be grateful, I think is a really important value. You also mentioned a couple of times giving back to community and how that's something that you really hold dear to heart, especially through your experience. So just a little bit curious on like how you translated your experiences and those passions that you have for community to get you to where you're at today. So you mentioned like you had your first job and all these other things. So like walk us through what that looked like to
Because that's where I met you at your first job.
Yeah. So it's funny. Like
That made me laugh.
like my first job, was teaching kids how to play basketball.
Okay.
I got 1 hour a week. I think it was on Tuesdays, and I was getting 5 or 6 something an hour. So I got 1 hour per week. So like the paycheck was like $12 or $13. But like I was so grateful for that.
Yeah.
Like I was so happy to get that money because that meant like I had my little bank card too at the time. So like
What was it, RBC TD?
TD, come on.
Shout out TD then.
Sponsorship dollars.
There
So
you go.
like, like there was pride in like I made that money. And like it's so funny, but like I made that money, and like I said before we started, is like we had the like the McChicken Tuesdays, the Toonie Tuesdays, and so I always thought about ways that I can like I made a stretch for like three lunches at school, and so it really was that, and so like I'll kind of maybe walk through like so when I got that job, I had a bank account, like my mom took me to get it, and like I would always try to like find things and things. So like Allen Iverson was like one of my favorite players, and like I got this tattoo, it says "Only the strong survive," because like I resonated with that. And so that started for me in junior high. So I started to try to like develop that particular mindset then, and then really that 1 hour a week started turning to part-time, started turning to more and more and more. And then my career grew. Wow. And I never had any other job. Like that's where I started. I started as a junior. No, I started as a camper first. I was like 5 when I started going to camp. And like, I didn't know at the time, but like I was looking for something. And having kids now, like I just realized how vulnerable children are. So like I was just a vulnerable, like little black child, like looking for something. Like, what is my purpose? What am I gonna do? What am I gonna find? And then I found it. And it was working for a community, and it was basketball. And so those sort of two things, like I realized at a young age, I dreamed about it, but like deep down, I knew I wasn't going to NBA, but like I kept that fight alive.
A lot of people be in denial.
Yeah, for sure. Like I kept that fight alive like for so long because like I heard a thing somewhere like if you shoot for the moon, if you miss, grab a star, and I'm like, all right, well like I'm gonna try to give everything in there to take it as far as I can, and it took me to university. And so I started St. Andrews Rec Center, and I probably worked there for maybe 7, 8 years. And I did that while I was in university. And I'll talk a little bit about university.
Shout
but
out
like
your university. Where'd you go?
Mount St. Vincent University.
There you go.
MSVU.
Come on. I'll get there. I'll get there. Cause like, so I went from like a young kid, a public housing, finding my way like in community with community at the same time. And so two people like I always give credit to, and they hate when I do this, but Maurice James, or known as Doodles, or Craig Myra, those two really sort of took me in. I don't know what they saw, but they took me in at the time. And without them, like I'm not sure if I would have sort of stayed in kind of in the pocket working there. So I worked there from age 15 up until I finished university at 23. And university, like, I mean, junior high and high school were interesting because like I wasn't a bad student, but like I just found the work, like it wasn't hard. So like some people say it was smart, but I would always do like, I would just find it like the easiest way around like what they're asking me to do. And so like I got through high school I would say pretty, like, I don't know, I had a good average, but I wasn't actually applying myself. And there's a pivotal moment in high school where my guidance counselor, I said to him, you got to sign me up for university right now, because if you don't, I'm not going.
Straight up.
I'm not going to go. And he's like, okay, well, he started asking like what I do, what I like to do. And that's what led me to the Mount in the Child and Youth degree program. And at the time I didn't, like, he paid the fees and like he did all that stuff.
The guidance counselor did all that?
Yeah.
Shout him out.
Clyde Paris.
There you
Clyde
go.
Paris.
That's a real one, because I ain't lying. Some of
Sometimes
them
he be
guidance counselors be doing nothing for you.
Yeah, no, he paid. And I didn't know, because I didn't, I never signed up for university before, so I didn't really know what to expect.
Yeah.
But like when I thought back on it, I'm like, oh man, he paid the fees, like he did all that stuff for me, and I was serious, like, because. Like, I just think for like a lot of us in community, you can go either way. And
back in our generation, it wasn't that many people going to university.
No. Like, and especially basketball. Like, I didn't get a scholarship. I just went. And like, there was only certain people, like I could name, but I won't. But there was only certain people that like, they went to university and they went on scholarship. And so like, it's a very fragile place where like you can go either way, like with like one quick decision. And like at the time, like, and I think I'm realizing it literally right now, is that was probably like my cry for help of like, send me to university or I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. And going to like my first year at university. So I was in the Child and Youth study program. And my first year, like, they sent me the letter home that's basically professional language to say, like, you got to get it together or we're going to kick you out. I think my GPA was like 1.6 or 1.7.
Academic probation.
Yeah. And so what ended up saving me is I made the basketball team. So I made the basketball team, but I didn't talk to anybody. I didn't speak to anyone. You can ask, like, I didn't actually talk to no one.
Like outside of the basketball?
You
or
mean
even
on the
in
team?
basketball?
On the team.
Yeah, he locked it.
I asked him. I didn't, and like, it wasn't a good thing. Like, and so I didn't talk.
Okay.
I didn't actually talk to anybody because like university for me at the time was like, this is a totally different environment. This is a privileged space. I don't know anything about this. What I know is like what we do in community. And so I was like living two different lives. Like, I was experiencing what I was experiencing at home, which was challenging. I was experiencing what I was experiencing in community. And then I was going to this place where people are always happy. And like, people are always like, they're supportive and they're doing this and they're doing that. And then I have the coach that is expecting me to focus in on the game. And like, I'm just like, if you only knew what I just went through at home, and then I got to show up here and you're screaming in my face, like, it was like, but I had to decide, like, and I say my first 2 years, I hadn't decided, like, this is what I'm going to do. But once I made the decision to like, well, actually, let me go. My first year, like, one thing I did in my first year that, like, people, like, it sounds sad, but it just, like, I actually would sit out front of, because I didn't know what to do. I remember a couple times I was sitting out front of classes and I had my phone just pretending I was texting. I had no one I was texting. I just didn't know what I was supposed to do. Cause like class started when it started, but like, what do I do here? I don't know anybody. I didn't speak to anybody. I didn't feel comfortable.
Yeah.
So I was just sitting there like acting like I knew what was happening. But then when I got to my second year, like I just decided like, you're either going to do this, you're going to do that. And I decided like, okay, I'm going to actually apply myself here. So then that's when I started talking to people. That's when I started opening up. And that's when literally my life started to change. Because like, I believe that your words are physical. Like I believe that and I got some of this from, there's a YouTube video called Will's Wisdom. It's Will Smith. And like, I used to watch it every single day. Every morning I would wake up and put the same thing on. And it really talks about like building brick by brick by brick. And you can lay a brick as perfectly as a brick can be laid. You'll eventually build the wall, but like focus on just making that brick perfect. And so I got a bit of that from there is because like, if, you know how they say like the graveyard is the richest place in the world. well, why is that? It's the richest place in the world because there's people in there who died with hopes and dreams and they never opened their mouth. They never told anybody. So like, I just believe like if you want to do something, like you got to tell at least one person every single day. And then the world's going to start moving out of your way and those things are going to start coming to you. But like, if you don't start telling people what it is you want to do, like you're never going to get it. And so in my second year when I decided, I don't know what it was, but I just started talking. I started talking to people and I started telling people what I want. But I was just like a really mad. I was just like a mad kid. Like I was really mad just based on like everything that I've been through, but I'm in this environment. And so like, let's decide to actually take full advantage of this environment. And then that's when things all started to change for me for the better. So talk.
Yeah. Wow.
That's dope, man. I resonate with that a lot, and I'm over here just thinking how dope this podcast is.
Facts. Oh my God,
with the gems and stuff you drop, man, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So university, like I feel the same way when I first started university, and the only reason why I went to university is obviously Darrell Nelligan.
Of course.
So he went through the transition year program at Dow. The year before I graduated, he got in. And I was like, this guy can go to university? Shit, I can too. So like, that's what kind of put me on the path, because literally if he didn't go to university, I would not even looked or thought that was a thing. It's like, where we from is like, who's spending money to go to university? Like, I'm trying to get out of high school, go west, get some money, or do whatever else I got to do to get some money. But I'm not going to go spend no money to learn, and I don't even want to be in school in general. You know what I mean? But then in retrospect, after the first or second year, you get comfortable. You start to like believe this is the place you should be in. Like versus like, we're comfortable in community. Going outside of community or going into a university is like, this is so foreign to me. This is like me in another country. These people ain't accepting me. And you get in your own head too, is like you're the only black person in your class. So it's like
I actually was.
Yeah, no, I'm saying me too, bro. It's like and then when I did the statistic searches, like 2% of population in Nova Scotia is black. So in statistics in class is like, out of 100 people, there's only gonna be 2 black. And if you're in a class with 30 people, there's only gonna be 1 black person. And you're that 1 black person. So it takes a little bit of getting over like, I don't even know what it is, but it's like believing in yourself and like making friends. I find that's super important. But like having the Black Student Advisory Center at Dell was important. And just having, like you said, like having a goal and something. When you make the decision, okay, this is what I want. Like for me, it was like I wanted to become a lawyer. And that's what kind of got me in university. And there's little things that like if Darrell didn't go, I wouldn't have went. If XYZ didn't happen, then I wouldn't have did that. So it's like, it's super important to be able to have things that can propel you or to latch onto that can pull you into the future. And I think that speaking things into existence, like me, like when you were saying that, I was like, I told people I was going to be a lawyer. So shit, I got to go become a lawyer. And then I was in a midlife crisis when I decided I didn't actually want to become a lawyer. Like when I was in my first year, I was like, this ain't actually for me. Worked at a firm and now I realized like this really ain't for me. So I'm like, what am I going to tell my community? What am I going to tell my friends now?
But you know what that is? Like, so, cause like as you're talking, I'm thinking, okay, well, what was it? I think there's 2 things for me and might be applicable for you is like exposure and trust. And so you knew the idea of a lawyer. You didn't really know what a lawyer does. You might have had some ideas. You might have heard about Rocky Jones. You might have heard about some people, but then you got exposed to it and you're like, okay, well, this ain't for me.
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
And, for me, it was kind of like, I've never been exposed to a university environment. I've never done any of like, I know there's like all the sort of the black camps. Like I've never done any of that. I've never been exposed to none of that stuff. And so like when I first stepped foot on university, it was like foreign territory. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do?
Like
the book costs how much?
Oh, fuck.
Like costs how much money? And so like it was really just based like, I experienced like so much distrust and little exposure, if zero exposure really to that I'm in there and I'm guarded. And so like a lot of, I didn't know you. I don't know you. I didn't trust you. And like, where I came from, it's just like, we ain't just opening up to anybody. Because if I show you my card, you might use that against me. And so it was a defense mechanism. But then like once I started to build relationships and actually trust people, like things started to open up for me. And there was even times where like, man, I wouldn't have graduated because like I didn't have the money. I didn't have the money for the books. And like I was in the athletics office just like crying, like to be honest, because I'm like, I don't have this money. Like I don't like, what am I gonna do? And I won't name them, but they were like, they said we got a special envelope and a special fund to support things like this. They pulled out the envelope and they handed me the money, and I didn't even know what to say.
Wow.
Because like people just don't,
Oh my God.
people just didn't do that for me. And I wasn't used to that. Like you just gave me $400 to like, because it was like maybe year 3 or 4, and I needed the course. Like it wasn't an elective. I needed the course to finish. And it was just like a moment of like, wow, like people are actually like this. Like people are actually nice. Because like I didn't know what to do. I was like, oh no, basketball career is over. I'm gonna be kicked out of school. And it may not have been that deep, but I like I said, I decided. So once I decided, like I'm finishing. I don't know where this is coming from, but like I said, words being physical, I went in as vulnerable as I was and as upset as I was, and I told them my situation, and someone helped me out. But if I didn't say anything and I just tried to get it on my own, like other ways, like it might not have worked out. So I just started telling people, talking.
And I find like you were saying is let it out there, your dreams or whatever you're going through, because there's someone out there that may hear it and might be able to help you. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's like, it's not like, oh, like I need help for everything, because obviously you're doing the work that you need to do in order to get where you need to go. And then someone else might see that and be like, here, this, I know that this money is going to go the long way. And then whoever that was that did give you the money, they look at you now. It's like, I contributed to that. I assisted with that. And then for you, think about all those people that you may have gave shoes to, gave money to, or gave support to, that where they're at today. You know what I mean? I think being a mentee and being a mentor is very, very important in our journeys, because it allows us to help mold others, and it allows us to be molded.
Definitely. And like good karma is real. Like this is a real thing. Like you put that out there, like it's gonna find its way back to you in some way, and you're gonna you'll get blessed. Like what I'm not saying is go out there and do good things and hope that it comes back to you, but like karma in general is real. Certainly the negative one, but good karma is a real.
And it's like genuine. If you do good things with genuineness, the energy always flows back.
Definitely.
So don't just give to think you're gonna get something back, but give to give. And understand too, when you're just taking, and if you're doing negative stuff, that karma comes back too, because sometimes we get in a negative rut and we like don't recognize that. To me, I look at it like negativity and positivity is like a boomerang. You throw it out in the universe and it always comes back in some way or another. It might not even come back in this lifetime, but it's gonna come back and hit you.
Like I mean, like check this out. So like takers recognize givers, and they'll continue to take. They'll continue to take, and they'll continue to take. And what happens to the taker eventually? They're not giving. They're just taking. But the givers, it's reciprocal. Like it's gonna come back to you. But the takers always recognize the givers. They always recognize the givers. And the takers are usually in a different position years down the road than the givers are. Because the givers, that's gonna be reciprocated back to them at some point in life. Karma's real.
Karma energy doesn't, what's that saying? Energy is neither created nor destroyed, but it's like it goes around, it transfers, right? So even in that energy, I agree with the karma and stuff like that. Like you said, good or bad, that it definitely, it comes back. And sometimes you might give something, like you might give a pair of shoes, and then the reciprocity, or however you say that word, guys, don't laugh at me. But you know what I mean? Like if you give the shoes, you might expect, oh, I'm getting a shoe back. No, like that can come back in a different form, right? Like that energy can come back in a different form. You might give something monetary, and then you're getting back good energy or connections or network, or you're making an impact on someone's life on that day you needed it. So definitely the energy is really important. And I had a question just related to, trying to think of what it was. Oh my gosh. So I got caught up in that, like karma and stuff like that.
Take your time.
It was to do with school. Yes, I remember what it was. So you mentioned a lot with school. I find, which I really like, you're not even really focusing on the academic. It sounds like a lot of the takeaways outside of academic is what you found value in with university. So if you could kind of like just put that together, what do you feel like the biggest takeaways from university were for you?
Yeah. I would say that it's not necessarily the academics. Like that's cool, but I find that university, my experience, helped to like build like a comprehensive person. Because like, especially being a student athlete, you have a regimen you got to follow. You have to be organized. You have to be punctual. You have to build relationships. Like it really, really helped to kind of mold like a lot of different qualities and help sort of sharpen things that I may have already had. And I think that like I honestly, what I called it a piece of paper that says I can make more money now. That's what I called it when I finished. I was like, oh, I got this piece of paper now that people say I can actually make some money now.
Yeah.
And you know, it's a thing that people can never take away, even if you physically lose it. Like that's on record somewhere. And so like it's an achievement, yes. But the journey of university is actually, in my opinion, more valuable than finishing.
Agree.
It's way more valuable than finishing.
I can attest to that because I don't technically have a degree, but I got 70% of a history degree, 70% of a business degree, and I went to law school for 1 year. And like all that stuff that you're saying, it is encompassed in that journey. All the people you meet in the classes, all the things that you may have learned in the classes, is 100%. I don't got the paper, but I got the confidence like I got the paper.
No, but you got the, you know.
You got all that.
Yeah. You got some things though that people in business school don't even have. Because like when I was so I did child and youth study, but like I was actually working like with children and youth and people in community, and there was people there that were just like career academics, like they just went to school. And you know, I think that academics is valuable. Like I'm not trying to tell anybody that it isn't. But experience is just not, it's as important, if not more important. And so, you know, like I would encourage, you should get that degree. I'll put that on record. You should get that degree.
So my goal now is to get an honorary degree to doing whatever I got to do.
Yeah.
Okay, done.
But like it's
done.
In the way that I'm set up is I'm working in community now. I'm building my business and I'm getting too much out of community and too much out of my business than to go to school and like finish. Of
course.
It's like the time was put in. I probably did like 10 years. I ain't finna go back.
Oh, of course. No, you've done you've done the work, right? Like there's people who are, again, like I said, just career academics who go to business school but don't know nothing about business. You actually learn like you came up, like you learned like the hard way, like trial and error, like give this out, like you know, brand marketing, all bro, we see you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We see you.
I think that's important too, because even for myself, with like the medicine and stuff, it's so funny because you'll have people that'll go there straight academic, and then you have people that'll go there and it's like personable and they have that element, but the academics there, because I had that problem in school where sometimes in high school I was high achieving and stuff. In university I was too. But I started like working, doing other things, being in community more, like all these other stuff. And people were like, why are you doing side quests? And I'm like, because it's important. Because I'm like, for real, like on jokes aside, I was like, it's important to get those experiences because then you come to like the interviews and you don't know how to talk. You don't know how to connect with someone. You go to get a patient and you can't even.
And I remember your sister, when I was in university, she was in university and she was telling me how she was doing volunteer work for free. And I'm just like, you girl, like you doing volunteer work? Like, what are you doing? Like you going to school working and you doing volunteer for free? For free?
I know, right?
But like it adds so much value to your journey. Like even for me, like I volunteer now with Emotep Legacy Academy, and it's like it sometimes it's not about the money. The cup gets filled up from what you're giving.
Yeah.
But there's another way to like look at volunteerism, because I don't know what I was doing, something in community, and someone asked about this question, because like whether there's a dollar amount attached to, you know, like attached to you, right? And so like you could actually package it in a way that instead of I volunteered my time, well, I actually donated X amount of hours and it's worth this dollar amount at the end of the day. So at the end of the day, like, yeah, you volunteered, but like if you put a dollar figure to what you're worth per hour, which would be expensive because you're a business owner, like doing real shit, like it would be expensive. And so, yeah, you volunteered, but on paper, like Trevor Silver actually donated 100 hours to said organization and equals this amount of money. If you look,
I like that analogy, and I'm gonna use that in my brain now to like. I give back.
Reflect,
I
right?
give. You know what I mean?
Of course. One thing I do have to get out is just, I mean, when I went to, I'm just saying we won 5 championships. I'm just saying.
Hey, period.
Okay. I'm just
What's
saying.
that? At the Mount St. Vincent?
Okay. I'm saying.
Ain't won a championship since?
No, well, I'm not saying that.
I don't know what they do now.
No, they're nice.
Dream team.
My younger brother's there right now.
They're real nice. They're
shout
real
out,
nice.
Shout out Nikhil.
I went to the games. Like they're real nice. But I mean,
said not as nice as when he was playing.
No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, you know, shout out to the team that when we were there. Because there was like a 7-year run where like the Mount won
Oh,
for like
shoot.
7 years.
Like
I
the
was
Mount, you see, in my mind, you don't even think about the Mount as an athletic school, but like clearly you guys was out
But
there.
like they got the Smith brothers, like they got like they're good. Like
Yeah.
this is a
Okay.
good team. Demeric, they're nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
facts.
I'm not even
He's
defender.
not like biased because it's his school and nothing, you know what I mean? Shout out to the Dow Tigers. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
I'm just saying, like MSV is actually nice,
Yeah.
real nice. But you know, we had some wins, and we had some wins back then.
So yeah, back to your academic career, because I'm pretty sure, did you graduate with Megan when you guys did your master's?
Yeah.
Yes, I was
Yeah,
at your graduation. So you got your undergrad,
Yep.
and then master's. Was
Yep.
there like a gap in between where you were
Yeah.
doing other stuff? Like maybe,
Yeah. There was a long gap in between, and like, I don't remember, but I'll tell you, like my last exam, I finished that real quick, and I actually just sat there I put the pen down, and I sat there. You know that one tear, like I
had one of those exams once. I swear to God.
I sat there and I'm like, oh, you did it. Like you actually you actually did it. And so finished in 2012. And I started, there was a 3-year gap. So I worked for Phoenix Youth Programs in Mulgrave Park for 3 years. Maybe more, 3, I don't know. No, more than that. But so I started there in 2012, and then I started my master's in 2015. So it's a master's of education in counseling, and it was an Afrocentric cohort, and it was paid. So it was a scholarship. So through Delmar Buddy Day Learning Institute, and there were 20 of us. So it was through Acadia, and it was really based on the recognition that there's not enough Black therapists in the province. And so we did a cohort of 20 of us, so 3 years part-time. And it was like every like Friday evening from 6 to 9 p.m. and every Saturday all day. And then in the summertime you go and you're on live for 2 weeks. And so, you know, that was a grind. Like that was a grind sort of figuring that part out. But like it was free education and it was valuable knowledge, and to do it with like 19 other Black people was amazing.
Yeah, that's dope. I just seen them. They just did another cohort right now that's starting, and I work at Delmar Buddy Day, and I helped out with getting some of the merch done up for the package for the cohort. It's definitely super dope, and you see some folks our age, some folks younger. It's you know what I mean. To see Black folks getting the opportunity to lead and be in education, I think is super important, because we need to see ourselves in them positions. Because like my whole journey, I probably had 2 or 3 Black teachers in my whole time, and I've been to so many different schools all over HIM, like bouncing around. So it's like I think it's important to be able to see somebody that's either a male or a female in those positions, so that they can instill or inspire us. Because out of all the teachers, you got to find teachers that actually care. Because a kid, they can sense certain stuff, and when you know a teacher don't give a fuck, then you're not going to give a fuck in the classroom. Because there's teachers that, shout out Miss Ryan, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. I wouldn't be in university. I wouldn't be able to be who I am. But you caring and you pouring into that love into your students, and everybody she treated with respect, same level of respect. And what that did, it inspired us, because she cared about us. It made us care about ourselves. So then we did the work that needed to be done to pass the class or whatever.
Yeah, and I mean, like people gotta understand, like sometimes kids are at school longer than they're actually at home, especially if you're in the after school program. And so like you gotta make that environment like an environment of like love, care, like reflection. Like that's gotta be, like you gotta pour into that child, because they're there 8-9 hours sometimes, and then you don't know what they're going home to. And so you gotta try to like make every interaction like helping to propel somebody forward, because you don't know what's gonna happen to that person. You don't know if you're gonna see that person again. We just assume like we're gonna get up and we're gonna go to work and we're gonna continue on life for the next 40 years, but you actually don't know. So any chance that you get, like try to make that a positive interaction sport.
Yeah, 100%. Like be the teacher that you needed. And I find like those teachers that really make an impact, that comes back to them. Because like I'll hit my teacher up all the time and let her know like what I'm up to. You know what I mean? Like my success is her success. And like all those other teachers that poured into me. So like if you're a teacher, don't just be there for the paycheck. And if you are just there for the paycheck, I'm talking to you. If you are there just for the paycheck, figure out how you can fall in love with it or just find another career.
Or get out.
Yeah, like straight
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, because definitely I feel like, as students, you can feel what teachers believe in you and what teachers don't believe in you. And also every interaction, like you never know, that person you go down the street and you say something to, that could stick to them for the rest of their life. So I feel like even when you're speaking of students and kids, right? Like you say something positive and you could have made that person's day, and you don't know what the kids are going back home to. So
100%.
Yeah.
Like there was a junior high, a friend, my neighbor actually, his name was Emmett Freilich. He committed suicide, or suicided is the proper term today. And like, I actually I didn't know what, like, I remember I was going to school and I was walking past the house. I'm like, oh, police are there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, whatever. I get to school and people are like crying and I start laughing. I'm like, what are you guys talking about? Because like me and him was supposed to be playing on 3-on-3 tournament like the next day or the next week. And you know, like it like that real thing of like, you don't know what people are going through, but also like, you know, like the people in school that like nobody talks to, like the people in school that like, you know, like, and I wasn't there yet, but I started to learn that like being a good person is actually cool. Like that's the cool thing to do. Because like, you know, like I was a fucking asshole sometimes to people that like I wish I could go back to and fix. Because I don't know what damage I might have done to those people, and like I've experienced it as well, and it's just like it's a position or a situation like you just never want to be in, and so any chance you can get to like pour into somebody, to give advice and whatever, you know, do it. Just because like it's free, like it's free to be a good person, like it don't cost nothing.
And do you find like the folks that maybe you were rude to or mean to back in the day, when you see them today, if you have seen them, it's like you connect with them in a different way.
Definitely.
So it kind of cleanses the karma to where, hey, I'm me now. I'm not the same person as I was before. You don't have to verbalize it, but like the love
they know.
and the
They know. They
you know
know.
what I mean?
They know. Like there's some people that like will message me every now and then. Like I'm not, you know, like I wasn't who I am now. And like they'll hit me up and they'll just be like, and like we're still cool, but they'll be like, man, I'm happy to see like how, you know, you turned out, or like it's cool to see you doing whatever you're doing. And like I know what that means. Like, you know what I mean? Like we ain't gotta
for sure.
we ain't gotta have the conversation, but like I know what that means and they know what it means. But like, yeah, you know, like there's been a lot of those experiences where, you know, you just don't know. And you know, like when you lay your head on that pillow at the end of the day, like you want to make sure like you got good energy around you, like you're good, because like, you know, as at the same time, like as much, you know, whatever you believe in, but as much as God is fighting for you, like the devil's fighting harder. And so like you would want to lay your head down like with a good conscience at the end of the night, that like you've done right, as right as you can be. As right
and I
as
think
you could.
reflection is important, because sometimes we could, if you don't think about your day or you don't think about all the things you've done, you might overlook some of the stuff you might have messed up on, or you might have, you know what I mean? But then you might overlook some of the good that you have done. And I think it's important, because if you do relay your day, then the next day can be better. And you'd relay that day and the next day will be better, and your interactions become better. I try to think about like all the interactions I had throughout the day, and then think about how could that have been better. And when I think about how that could have been better and what I could have said to encourage them more or whatever, the next time I see somebody else or I see that same person, it's saying like it's better. It's a better experience, because you're basically re-rehearsing. I mean, and it's not like I'm trying to be some kind of way or being some extra to the person. Is I'm actually genuinely trying to improve myself, and then that hopefully can push somebody else. You know?
Right. Yeah. And because like, at one point in time, like, and I still write notes down, but like I used to write like spoken word, and I wrote this one like behind a smile, and it's just really like the recognition of like people go through the day.
Do you remember it?
I don't remember it. No.
I was gonna say,
I didn't know that. That's cool. That's cool.
I don't remember it. No. I have it somewhere, but like it's really the recognition of just that, like people go through the day, and like you might see someone in passing, and like you might shoot me a smile, but like you have no idea, like that person could be going through hell in their life, but they shot you a smile, and just like the recognition of the thought of like, smile back, like, you know, like do what you can do. Like even if you're walking down the street and like people, you know, someone that would might be asking for money, or like a lot of people walk by. If I don't have money, like I'll at least acknowledge that, hey, how you doing?
Yeah,
Sometimes I even
small.
sit down, like I'll sit down with you.
Yeah.
People look at me sideways, but like that's a person.
Yeah.
That's a person. That could be you.
Yeah.
That could be you. So don't walk around like you're better than everybody, because like I said at the top, is like life can switch around real quick.
And I mean, obviously, you guys know from being from the Black community, like we speak to most Black people when we see them, because like when you're younger, you got in trouble. But like that taught me, like what you just said is like speaking to everyone. If someone looks in my eyes, like, and they say hi, or I try to say hi back to them, like if we're looking at each other, like, hey, how you doing, or whatever, and I find that energy that you put out, like you said, it could make their day, it could change their day. Like, you know what I mean? Having that one little interaction could change someone's whole day. They could have been like, oh, I'm ready to off myself, but like you sat with them and you talked to them, or you know what I mean? Or one of us, I think it's important to just not be so in a rush. And I think it might be a Scotian thing, because like we're so friendly and we're so nice and we hold the door for people. And like other places you go, people probably think we weirdos.
Yeah.
So it's like being able to take your Scotian wherever you go and take your time and be patient with the people around you. You know what I mean? Don't be in a too much of a rush to like speak to people or be friendly. And
Definitely. I'm
Yeah.
sitting here. I'm trying to remember the spoken words.
That's cool. That's cool though. Do you still do it?
I write notes in my phone. Like I have like a note in my phone that I have running, that's been running for like, I don't even know how long at this point. It's just like thoughts and random thoughts and notes. And like, I used to write them like if I was feeling something. And like one that I wrote that I got framed. Actually, Shanae got it framed for me. It's called "Who Are You Not to Be," and it's really like I would like who am I not to be great? Like why can't I do that? Like it's really like having like a cocky attitude towards like chasing your dreams.
Yeah.
And like I wish I remembered it, because it's like who are you not to be? Like again, I asked myself like confidence, astonishment, something you should be head to toe completely polished with. Like it was one of my favorite ones. Anyway, but like it's just the notion like who are you not? Like someone's just like I want to be a doctor. Well, who are you not to be a doctor? Go ahead then. Like go for it. Like, but yeah, I don't necessarily write them anymore, but I write thoughts and notes.
Yeah, like you think it and you,
yeah,
for sure.
Keep it going. So we talked a lot about academics. Maybe let's talk about post school and what you've been doing in community and all the things, the great things that you've been building.
Yeah. Yeah. What you up to now?
Thank you. Yeah. Now we're that. I'll
you can
start
walk
with
through it too if you want.
Yeah. So I'll start with, after university, I didn't know necessarily what I wanted to do, but like I knew I had a degree, so I knew I
you felt nice.
Yeah. I knew I'm getting hired. Someone's hiring me. So Phoenix Youth Programs in Mulgrave Park. I think I worked there for 4 years. I left in 2016. So I worked there in 4 years. And that's like, it's an amazing center down there, and it's an amazing, exceptional community. I ain't just saying that because my mom is from there. Like the people down there, like I say that's my second community. The people down there I have a lot of love and respect for, and I take a lot as family. But like I don't take my time spent there for granted at all, because even though my mom is from there, like that's a community that I'm not from. Like I didn't grow up in, but those folks like accepted me in, and like that was my first sort of like career job, and did a lot of like employment focused stuff, a lot of violence prevention, and so that was like really my first start. And I'm grateful for that for many reasons, but also like it kind of helped me jump to like my next sort of move, which was like it was hard to leave, but like even the community said like it's time, like it's time. And so I moved to municipal government, and not that Phoenix wasn't a big boy job, like, but this is like municipal government, and I was managing 3 community crime prevention programs. I was like 26 or 27, and so there was the Youth Advocate program, which is still running, the Soul Strong program based in North Preston, and then there was Girls United program, so focusing on young women who all the risk factors, human trafficking, like all those kinds of things, and like I was 27. The next person closest in age to me was like 6 or 7 years, and then everybody else was like that much older than me.
Yeah.
And the budget, like we're pushing, 1.5 million or something. I'm 27, and then managing all these things. And so, I came in there with confidence, but also a little bit of like, ooh, like, okay. And like, even like coming to the interview, the only reason I have a beard today is because like I felt like I had to grow the beard to look older in the interview. I swear.
That's
like,
crazy.
And like, I think about all these things and then I look back, like it's hilarious.
Yeah.
But like, I kept the beard to look older because I knew that I was young and I knew what I was applying for. But I just needed to take a chance on me. Take a chance on me. And Sharon Martin, who I still talk to this day, she hired me. And she just said, when you came in, like, I knew that you were the person. And so I worked there for a while. I don't even know the amount, 4, maybe 5 years. And that was like my first exposure to like the inner workings of like how government works, how decisions are made. And I started, like I just had this thing, like if I'm in a room with a mayor, if I'm in a room with a CAO, I'm in a room with the executive director, I'm just gonna make sure you remember me. Like I'm just going up to you. Even if I ain't supposed to be at the table, I'm walking over like I'm supposed to be here. Yeah. And so I made a point to make sure that if I was in those rooms, like you're gonna know who I am. You're gonna know you're gonna have to. And if you don't know who I am from this interaction, I'm gonna make sure you do. I'm gonna do some stuff, and you're gonna make sure that you're gonna have to know me or who the community is that I'm representing. And so that really gave me the perspective of like, oh, this is how decisions are made. Oh, this is who the people you need to know. This is what they do at council. None of that stuff, all that stuff was foreign to me. Like civic engagement, like it's extremely important that like, not even just as me now, but as a young person, you're paying attention to like how your city's moving and shaking. What's council talking about? Like who's the mayor? Do you know who they are? Do they know you? They don't even necessarily need to know you, but you need to know how these things work. And so that gave me a lot. And from there, where did I go from there? I think I went to NASCAR. I think I worked at NASCAR from there.
Can you dive into maybe some of the young folks that might not be familiar with what you're talking about, but like how the decisions are being made and what's going on?
Yeah, definitely. Like, if there's people listening, like, fill in if I'm missing anything. But so I believe there's 16 counselors and a mayor. And so the counselors represent a particular district of the city. You could pull out a map, you can find out who your counselor is, but they represent a particular district of the city, and they're meant to represent your interest for that particular district. They're meant to bring that to council. They're meant to debate that amongst the other 16 counselors, and decisions get made by voting. A certain amount of votes, majority vote, goes to council. If that passes, then that motion passes. If they say they want to raise taxes, which was a recent discussion, and that passes, well, taxes are gonna get raised. And so it's important, at least that particular part, because really, like a mayor, a premier, a president, they have a lot to say, but they're actually like a figurehead. Yeah. So especially for the city here in municipal government, the mayor is the political figurehead. But the CAO is actually the one who runs the city. They're the the highest ranking government staffer. And I'm not negating, Mayor Fillmore. I like Andy. And I'm not negating any, mayoral position anywhere. But, the CAO is the highest government ranking staffer. The mayor is a voter on council, and the mayor obviously has a lot to say. But, just an understanding in terms of how all these particular systems work. And I got to see really from the ground up in terms of community ideas being brought in to municipal government and seeing how that did or didn't get to kind of like where it needed to be. And it's a challenging space to work in to municipal government because like our urgency in community is not always the same urgency within government. And as quick as we want things to happen, it's not going to happen that whole fast.
Process, the
because there's a whole process that like things have to go through. So like, if you want it today, well, you're not going to get it today because it actually has to go through this particular process, even if it makes it there. And so I think it's extremely important to pay attention to your municipal politics, your provincial, and the federal. Like I try to keep up as much as I can. Like if I'm getting in the shower, I'm gonna pop on like, okay, well, what's Trump saying about Canada? Or like what's Carney saying about the tariffs. Like what? So you gotta be informed.
Awareness.
Yeah.
Gotta be informed. The same way that like you would know who's who in your community. You know where the candy store is. You know where to get the freezy cups. Like you need you need to know. You need to know who the movers and shakers are. And so if you look at it that way and you treat it that way, it makes it easy to figure out. So extremely important.
Is that something that you're thinking about getting into? Like, because I mean, looking at your resume,
I know,
I'm like, is this man already in politics? Like, what's going on?
Yeah. So like, I've been asked this question like a couple
Prime
times,
Minister.
and so like, what I would say is like I had like real big political ambitions. Like I actually had in my head like I was gonna do it. I was gonna run for council at one point. I said nope. Then I was gonna run for provincial MLA at one point. Twice I was gonna do it. Once I didn't because like I could never see myself running against another black woman. I couldn't do it. And so I asked through support. And then, I was gonna run for a mayor at one point. Like I was thinking about that. But then like really what kind of like crossed my mind was like, well, can you make the change that you want to make, or can you do the things that you want to do? Like if you're in those positions versus I can be DeRico the citizen. And so, do I still have political ambitions? I would say yes, but not as big as they were before. Because once you sort of learn the system, you learn like who's who. You're like you can figure out how to get things done. And I mean, a book of mine, like people, is a hit or miss for some people, but like the 48 Laws of Power this is a powerful book. There's some keys in that book, and like there's a particular law in there. I forget the number, but there's a particular law in there that says like, now before I say this, like you can interpret this however you want.
I gotta readjust my seat right now.
You interpret this however you want, but the law says never outshine the master. So people will take that as like, ooh, like racism and all.
Too.
Yeah, never outshine the master. But like, you got to actually think about that. So if I'm in municipal government and my supervisor knows I know what she needs to know or what they need to know, I'm not gonna go to the meeting where she's there with all of her superiors and make her look like a fool. But I'm gonna let her know that I have this information. So eventually, they're dependent on me. So now they're taking me to these meetings because I didn't know shine you. I didn't make you look like a fool. But and if you make your idea look like it's their idea, you're gonna get it done. And so once you start piecing together and within the governments and all the systems, who's who, and you start learning like the type of politics, you start learning like
game,
It's 100% a game.
You start learning like what they do. You can pull buttons and you can pull strings and you can get things done and nobody even needs to know that it was you. Because I think that like the best things happen when no one cares who gets the credit. I don't care. I don't care as long as it gets done. And so you start planting seeds here and there, and master, but like never outshine your supervisor, the person in front of you, because if you want to get something done, supervisors, politicians, they want a champion. They need credit in a lot of ways in order to get elected. So go ahead. But I know at the end of the day, I got it done.
I think that's important to touch on is like sometimes people want to be the number one guy. And sometimes in order to be the number one guy, you got to play the number two guy.
Of course.
And I think it's important. Like I learned that from like my mentors and stuff like that, where it's like too much information or, you know what I mean? Dial back a bit to let the master shine or whoever, and not in like the slave master sense,
Right.
but like in the master sense of like, okay, this is my boss or this is my superior, and let me help them shine because I know what I'm capable of. And then when it's my time to shine, someone else gonna be my person that's, you know what I mean? Like you said, giving the information or whatnot, because it's the successors and the predecessors, you know what I mean? In order to, there's always going to be a cycling, but
it's like you said too, like just getting stuff done, like at the end of the day as well. Credit, I know sometimes for some people, it's difficult with credit and people want their credit and stuff, but it's like if you want something done at the end of the day, you got to do what you have to do to get that done. If that's doing that process and reaching out to those people, like you said in your situation, making your presence have to be known in that room and stuff. Like I feel like whatever it takes to get that that vision or that mission done is what you should be doing. So
yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and I mean like you can create a situation where your interests are going to converge at some point. Okay, that's fine. You don't want to take the meeting?
Yeah.
That's no problem. Well, we might have a protest then.
Yeah.
We're going to eventually get in the room then at some point.
Yeah.
Win-win. Find the win-win.
Yeah,
And then
it'll
if
work.
you don't want to find the win-win, we'll figure out a way to make it.
Absolutely. I mean, I heard, I won't name them, but we were in a meeting, older black man that I know and love, and asked for a particular report. They said no. The person said, oh, okay, fine. Well, I'll just create a crisis. You can either give me the report or I'll create a crisis within the province that will get us in the same room again. You can pick. Okay. Got the report.
And that's
wow,
game.
That's game. I swear.
Game. 48 Laws of Power is a game. Like if you like some of the stuff in there could be viewed as negative, but the awareness is what the book gives you awareness of like how other people are operating. So if you recognize and understand how they're operating, you're able to play the game.
You can compete.
You can compete. Yeah, 100% compete.
Can work with them for sure.
So talk about like the consulting and talk about your current position. Yeah. Because like we've been talking for a minute.
Oh yeah, my bad.
I want you to highlight a lot of the stuff that you are doing.
Yeah.
Currently.
Of course, yeah. So African Nova Scotian Justice Institute. So I would say that ANSJI is a collection of work that many people have done. Because I could say, we started in 2020, 2021, but like it's long before that. Like there's been work long before that. And so, I just happened to be blessed in an opportunity to be able to work there. And so I'm director of engagement and justice initiatives. So very, very broad. But I'll sort of explain the organization. It's easier to explain it by the pillars. And so ANSJI, we operate a pro bono or free legal clinic where we have a team of lawyers where we look at criminal law, we look at child and family law, and we're starting to get into human rights. And so all of that's free to the community. So any Black or African Nova Scotian person in the province. Then we have what's called a forensic assessment and treatment unit. Where we do the assessment side are called impact of race and culture assessments. And so I write those. I've been writing those for 4 or 5 years or so. Interesting. We might get into those, but it's a long tangent.
Robert Wright was the spearhead of that.
Absolutely. So they started with Robert Wright and now have penetrated the justice system in a real deep way and now all across Canada. But proudly started here. Yeah. And then we have my unit, Engagement Justice Initiative. So I do a lot of government relations, organization, community, and really, the summit is that the bridge between community and the organization. And so I'm on a lot of different committees, and it's really about trying to be everywhere all at once and to know what's happening so that people can bring issues to me and I'll be the conduit to sort of get it to where it needs to go. And like even before coming in here, like I had a call and someone was just asking for some legal advice. I'm not a lawyer, but I work with lawyers. And so I heard them out and I'm going to take that to the lawyers this week and try to, make a connection. And so a lot of really interesting committee work that I'm involved in. Death review committees are very interesting. Very, very interesting. And then the next pillar after that would be our data collection and justice system accountability unit, which is our research unit. And that particular work is really based around, working on a research agreement with the provincial government and around, we want certain data points around Black folks and how they're doing. Are they getting particular services? And we want to take that information and we want to produce reports for the community and we want to give it back to the community. And so NSI functions, and we do some national work. So we're based in Nova Scotia. Our mandate is to work in Nova Scotia, but we started kind of getting into some national conversations. We travel often to Ottawa and liaise with the federal government. And right now we're working on what's called a national IRCA center, so impact of race and culture assessment. So we're working on that and really, again, probably started in Nova Scotia. But like what that would be is that the knowledge that's all really gained from the IRCA work would be sort of housed in a national sort of body. And, it would help other parts of the province and Canada to on policies. It would help to sort of manage or regulate in some ways on how these sort of assessments would work. And so I'll just give a bit of a brief in terms of like what it is, because it's like when I mention it, like people are like what the hell, like what is that?
Yeah, I mean I know a little bit because I went to law school, so I
And I'm glad
studied that
because
stuff.
when we had Angelina as well, we said that we were going to ask him about that stuff.
Okay.
So yeah, go
Okay.
on it.
I got you,
Yeah.
Angelina. So IRCAs they're a pre-sentence tool that helps the judge arrive at an appropriate decision for a Black person, because so I can give examples of ones I'm writing right now. So if there's an individual who has firearm-related charges, a judge would see, person X, and their charges, maybe a pre-sentence report, but not always. And then they would see that, and then they would make a determination based on those two things. Now, with an IRCA, we take a deep dive all the way back to provide contextual information around how the person's life trajectory had them arrive at this particular decision. And so, if an individual has firearms-related charges, if there's been more shootings than you can count at their mom's house, if they've been shot, if friends around them have been killed, and there's violence consistently in their community, they've never had the opportunity for therapy, all of those things. And then you look at it and you think, okay, well, isn't it reasonable to think, okay, well, if all the shooting and violence is going on around this person, it probably actually makes sense why this person is carrying a firearm. So it's not providing excuses, it's excusing what they've done. It's actually just providing an explanation from a clinical standpoint, because we really examine as well, psychological aspects of not having a father, psychological aspects of maybe the mother is an alcoholic or substance use and abuse, people going through the system, what that does to your psyche. There's even been individuals that I've written for where they grew up in the province, but they were in, DCS or foster care with white families the whole time. So what does that do to you? You've never actually seen Black people. They've experienced racism at school. They've been getting called the N-word. And so, but they know where their family is. I won't name the community, but their family was from a community here. And the first time they escaped where they were living, they get here and, they see their family and they're on the corner. Family's on the corner. The family's on the corner selling drugs. The family's on the corner and that's what they think Black is. So they associate that. And then because they've never seen Black people before, they associate that with being Black culture. And this is what you're supposed to do because this is what Black people do. They've never seen Black people before. They're like 15.
Yeah.
And so an IRCA helps to unpack all of that particular information from birth until now. And, there's things that we call IRCA factors. So education, trauma, mental health and substance abuse, health care, ACEs or adverse childhood experiences.
So are you guys able to go all the way to their like CUME files at school and stuff like that?
Yeah. So like we can pull school files, we can pull health records, because it's for the courts. So the Crown and the defense both get this report, and it's helpful for the judge and for the courts to arrive at an appropriate sentence based on this particular information. And so social context evidence is often what it might be referred to in courts.
Does it affect like violent crime versus like just having a gun? Like if they did something to someone else, it still affects the sentencing?
Yeah, well, so there's never a guarantee that it will affect the sentencing. But I would say more often than not, it's a win even if the conversation is had about the IRCA and what this person has been through. There's some notable cases here, RVX, RV Anderson.
That's the very first one, no?
Yeah, RVX, RV Anderson. I think RV Morris would be Toronto. And these are pivotal cases because these cases actually, and I can't forget RDS was one of the first. And so these particular cases are very pivotal because they help really set the law of the land. So RVX, I believe, or RVX, or I can't remember which one, RVX or Anderson, but one of them that was Justice Ann Derrick. And she said it potentially could amount to an error in law if a Black person is not afforded the opportunity for an IRCA. And so if a justice says that, that set the law for Nova Scotia.
The precedent, right?
Yeah, set the precedent. And, through ANSGI, like we've been to a court, this court of appeal, and won on multiple times on this IRCA case, IRCA cases, and so they've been very very beneficial. And like I said, they're now in all parts. I don't say all, but a lot of parts throughout the country, certainly throughout the justice system, and it's a tool. Again, proudly originated here, but like discussed and used, and now we're in conversation to have a national IRCA center to actually sort of start housing this knowledge, and there's conversations of using this at bail and conversations of using this for like other racialized or marginalized communities in Canada.
Yeah, that's crazy. Deep. You're a consultant. Do you want to talk about some of that?
Sure. Yeah. So I'll talk about so my website. So like first, just because it's funny how I started a website, because like, so I have DeRico Symonds.ca and the Ignite Group.ca, Ignite Consulting. So like, I remember just being like, why can't I have a website? Like, why? Like, literally, that's that in my
domain,
head.
so,
yeah. I'm like, why can't I have a website? Like, all these other people got a website. Like, why? Like, and I'll be honest. Like, I would go to functions and it would be mostly white people that would have websites, and I'm just like, well, I'm starting like DeRico Symonds.ca. Like,
it goes back to your spoken word on framed one.
Who you not to be? Who you not to be? Like,
you not to have a website.
That's literally what I was like. Well, I'm starting. It's not like I had the money to maintain it, but it hasn't been down since.
There you go.
And so, like DeRico Symonds.ca right now it's gonna be revamped, and I'd say within the next month. But Ignite Consulting, so the Ignite Group.ca. Ignite Consulting was really started because so some partner Shanae, and other people on the website, I've just been doing work. I've been doing a lot of consultant work, but I've never actually formalized it. And part of the issue is I would always see RFPs, so requests for proposals. I would see those go out, and then I would see, I would go to a community meeting, and it would be like, again, it would be like a white firm that was doing work in the Black community, and I would have an issue with that. I'm like, well, this is interesting, but I can't have an issue if I ain't doing nothing about it, or if I'm not applying for it. And so I just said, well, I'm gonna start my own firm. Like, well, why not? I'm gonna start my own, and I'm gonna build it at a manageable pace. And eventually, that might be the eventual thing that I'll just do forever, or it just might continue just to be something. That's a child that we're raising. And so started that out of really let's formalize some of this work. Like, I was doing a lot of work with Megan Neves, a lot of work.
Shadow Megan.
Yeah, we did it. Yeah, Shadow Megan. No, I was talking to her today. But I was doing a lot of work with her, a lot of work with Shanae, and just a lot of work Kate McDonald, and just stuff in the community. And I'm just like, okay, well, why don't we formalize this thing? Let's actually bring this thing together. And that's when I reached out to Donika. Amazing work. Amazing work.
Donika is literally on this sweater. Show them.
Amazing work.
Donika, Shadow Donika.
There we go. There we go.
EW Creative.
Yes. Yeah. No, I shout her out every chance I can get. I think we even had some work at ANSGI with her. So and that conversation was really just I was amazed by just I told her just a couple and what she came up with, the vision, and all of the logos and all that kind of thing. And so Ignite Consulting is really it's a consulting firm grounded in community values. And so, people, purpose, passion, really what we want to do with that is oftentimes there's organizations, there's businesses who don't have a whole bunch of money to do the work. And so again, I know what it's like not to have. And so we'll negotiate. We don't negotiate on everything, let me be honest, but let me be honest, but we really want people who are from community to be able to do this community work. And so we had a couple, we had a really good year. If we look at it financially, in the first year, the first year, we did 6 figures in the first year. And I was like, whoa, this is a lot. This is a lot. And so, we had some really good projects. And now we're in year 2. And so we've got some more projects on the go. And really, you know, what I'm looking at now is you know, how can I diversify this type of work? And so, like, I have some ideas in terms of what I want to do, and I may start a nonprofit that sort of works with it. I have this idea that I want to title something Ignition. So I have this idea, like, I want to do something about that, and I don't really know exactly what it is yet, but like, it's there. And like, if it's something continues to keep coming to me, like, I'm eventually going to act on it. And so, yeah, it's really based on that. So we do community engagement. We've done some work with the City of Edmonton, their anti-Black racism action plan and their strategy. Wow. We've done some work with related to Africville. We've done some work related to Cogswell interchange. And so, you know, some facilitation, some stuff with YWCA. But, you know, we can do a lot. We can do a lot. And so, you know, I plug myself, you know, ignitegroup.ca.
That's right. Yeah. Give them the quick little elevator pitch.
Man, look. If you want something done, if you need work done the right way, if you need some facilitation, if you need some engagement, ignitegroup.ca. You know, if you need some people from community, if you need some people who understand, you know, where the troubles, where the ills are, the social ills in community, ignitegroup.ca. If you just want somebody to show up to the meeting, scribe, take notes, facilitate for you, ignitegroup.ca. Look, if you need an action plan, ignitegroup.ca. We got you covered.
That should be on the radio. That sounds
This episode was brought to you by ignite.ca. That's dope. I like it.
Yeah.
So is there anything that we didn't ask you that you might have wanted us to touch on? I mean, like,
no, I'll tell you that I have 2 books in me that I want to write.
Okay.
I'll tell you that. So there's one book I want to write, and I already have the title. I actually already have it laid out. It's called Always Take the Stairs. And so this came about because when I worked for provincial government, so like you drive into the parkade, I get out, you go through the double doors, and there's 2 elevators there. 2 elevators, and then there's a set of stairs. So again, I just started working here, like, let me see what the vibe is. So I get there, and it'd be like 5, 10, sometimes 15 minutes before the elevator actually makes its way down. And I'm standing there like, what the, like, and so, but people will be sitting there very comfortable, the Blundstones on. They got the Blundstones on. They got the coffee in hand, and they're okay with that.
Just waiting.
Yeah, they're okay with that. And then I'm like, I looked over to the left, and I'm like, it's like 2 flights of steps. So I walked up the stairs, and so then I just started having like this, like, I laugh a little bit to myself, but I started having this realization of like, okay, there are people in life who are okay, and that's fine. Like, they're okay with being comfortable. They're cool with that. I'm comfortable. I got my coffee. I'll wait 15 minutes for the elevator. And me, I'm like, no, I'm going to go get it.
Yeah.
I'm going to go get it. So I'm going to take the stairs. Like, I'm going to take the stairs and I'm going to walk up, because I think, like, human bodies, like, people, we're meant to be, like, we're meant to face adversity. And so, like, I'm going to choose adversity. Like, I'm going to choose the path that no one else is going to take every single time, because that's going to help build character. You can be comfortable. That's okay with you, but I'm not satisfied there. And so, you know, it was really built on like that particular experience of like always taking the stairs. And like some people say to me, like, do you actually always take the stairs? Like, if you've ever been to the Billy Bishop Toronto Airport and there's them long stairs, I took them stairs.
Never mind, near the escalators?
Yes, I took them stairs.
Really?
I was sweating.
With your luggage?
Yes.
I know.
I took them stairs. You gotta live it out. You gotta live it out. So you know, every chance that I get, like, I will actually take the stairs. Like, I actually mean that. But the meaning behind it really is just that, like, choose adversity. Like, choose the path that, like, you know, most people won't take, because like at the end of that path is like what you're looking for. There's a quote. It's the tallest mountains have the best views, and that's literally and figuratively, because like, you know, the toughest climbs, the tallest mountains, once you get there, like, the view's amazing. Yeah. Even if the view actually sucks, that view looks amazing, because like you actually had to work to get there. You had to work to get there. And so, you know, it's really built on that. And then the other one is keys. And it's really about, you know, I won't give it all, but it's 5 keys, and keys open doors. And we'll leave it there. But the first one is going to be
major key alert.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's dope. I think that we got a title for the episode now. I think is a full circle.
Yeah.
That's super dope. Like, always take the stairs.
I know,
Let's
right?
go.
Always take
Don't
the
no one
stairs.
steal this man's book.
I know.
We're going to be looking for that book.
We'll track you down.
Yeah. Well, if you steal it, we know where it came from.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
We know
right.
where it
That's
came
right.
from.
100%.
So I'll let you do it this time.
Yeah, actually, even before we do that, so we did have you featured on, I think, our Instagram live, right, for the Feature Friday. So first, shout out to have you come back and double back on the
double
podcast.
back.
It's nice. But then the other thing, too, I just wanted you just to speak to your experience because you were part of the African Nova Scotian Youth Lab Advisory Committee. So what that experience was like and how that's impacted you in creating opportunity for young people.
So that was actually that was a real cool moment because we're all around the table talking about Black youth employment in the province, and really I don't want to say it was the first moment, but it's the one that comes to mind for me, like when we were actually sitting down and hard-nosed talking about the numbers. Like we put the numbers out there. So we can say qualitatively we know these are the experiences, this is that, but we start putting the numbers to it. It's like, oh wow, it's actually really that bad. And I even think too, I think Trudeau at the time came at some point to the employment lab. So it was a real cool experience to really cool and eye-opening, I would say, at the same time, to sit there with a group of peers, young folks, and really sort of dive into what these numbers mean, what can we do with them, and start really brainstorming solutions. And so it was kind of like a mastermind of people, just some really cool people around the table who cared about the issue and wanted to try to do things to move forward. And I think I said this before, but one of the things that might have come out of that was the grapevine, everyone talk, a lot of people talk about that, and I look forward to getting those. I look forward to getting those because I know a bit of where that came from, and so to see some of the fruits of the labor, it's just really important because I know that everything I'm gonna be looking at within that grapevine is pertaining to me or my community. So if it ain't for me, it's for somebody else.
Yeah.
So it is always benefit for me to get that. So that was it was a real valuable experience to sit through that. I don't want to say sit through, but to work through that. With the people that we were working through. And shout out Rodney, man.
Yeah.
Shout out Rodney. Shout out
Coach
Rodney.
Rod.
Shout out Rodney, man. Because I would say sometimes that man's misunderstood, but that his heart is fiercely in the right place.
Yes, 100%.
And now I just remember he was just breaking down the numbers and just on and on and on and on and on.
You know his energy too because he'd be getting up and
And,
He never
he's a
had a
very
problem.
intense. He's an intense close talker.
Very
Like,
passionate.
he's
100%.
intense, but man, shout out Rodney. He fiercely means well and protective of his community. I was just on the phone with him last week.
Yeah.
Shout out Rodney.
Yeah, no, for
I
sure.
like that you said that because there's a lot of misunderstood and from me knowing him from the outside was a little bit misunderstood, but now that I know him working within the organization, I defend him to the death because I know that everything he's doing is for community.
Yeah.
But you got to think why are people misunderstood? You got to actually if you know that
talking
man,
real shit.
you know that man, you know the man's story. If you know what I mean, people might misunderstand me, but you got to understand a little bit in terms of where people have come from because people are the way they are because of some of the experiences they have had and for him to be misunderstood, maybe there's things that have been taken from him or people have done things to him or his community. And so now he's in a position of power and influence. He's gonna be protective. He's gonna be real protective. And some of it might be abrasive and rub you the wrong way, but you gotta know that that's coming from a place of love.
Yeah. Good intentions.
100%.
Yeah, definitely.
Nothing comes from without no friction. You can't make a fire.
Absolutely.
So that's how change is gonna come. You know what I mean? You gotta rub some people the wrong way to actually see their real feelings.
Yeah, to make some change too. So.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And obviously, you probably know about the one where Checo since you were here before.
Yeah, well, did we do that on the live? I don't know if we did that on the live. Right?
I mean, I might not have been there when you guys did it.
Yeah, because Nakia was running it. But what the one word Checo is for the podcast, basically what we do is it's one word that describes how you're feeling, how this podcast has made you feel. Maybe it's how this week has made you feel. Just one word, and then describing why you chose that one word.
Hopefully, you guys don't steal my word.
I know, right?
I would say, this is probably obvious given, but I would say grateful.
Tough.
I would say grateful because I don't I don't take it for granted at all that like, and I say someone I did like obviously you, but like someone in general like wants to talk to me to hear about, like I don't take that lightly at all. Like, and so like I'm grateful for the experience of like, oh, you're interested to hear like that's cool to me. Like that's cool. No matter how old I get or whatever I'm doing, like that's cool to me. You know, that somebody wants to actually hear about you and your life and your experiences. And so, you know, I'm grateful for the opportunity to be able to share, and just grateful for the opportunity to be in this space with y'all. You know, like not even just as a person, but as a fan. Like I'm a fan. Like I'm a fan of what you guys do for real.
Yeah. For sure. We appreciate having you here.
I'd be always saying this, but like this is probably one of the best episodes.
I know.
Like, thank you for coming on. I'm grateful for you.
Yeah.
My word. Do you got your word ready?
Yeah, low key.
Okay,
do you want me to go first?
Low key?
Okay, high key, I do. But yeah, first off, I wanted to say thank you. We appreciate you. We're fans of you as well and the work that you do, and also appreciate you to be part of the ANS Lab as well and how that grown and the feedback on the Grapevine newsletter team. I'm gonna tell you about this feedback. It keeps us going.
Full circle moments.
Yeah, it keeps that work going too and that impact. My word's gonna be reflection. I feel like throughout this entire conversation, I've just been really reflecting the gratitude that you were expressing, your experiences with community, your passions, just the way you navigate situations and your composure. Like there's a lot of different things that I'm taking back as well that I'm able to reflect on and help improve myself with. So
thank you.
Yeah.
My word is adversity. Because a lot of what you talked about is having adversity, breaking through, growing from it. Just like a lot of the stuff that we've all been through is, and the reason how we are who we are today is because of the adversity. The easy stuff doesn't get us to these places, you know what I mean? So it's facing the adversity, and I think like that's my one word, and adversity is the thing that like any young person out there that wants life to be easy or they want to get rich quick, you can't get and become the person that you see yourself to be in the future without the adversity in the middle. And a lot of what you talked about, adversity, it makes us who we are.
Definitely. It's supposed to be hard. It's supposed to feel like that when you're leveling up.
100%. Yeah, that's like the devil. What I was going to say the other day, I was making a life lesson the other day. I got to get back to those, but it's right before you're having a breakthrough, the devil's going to test you.
100%.
Right before the breakthrough, you're going to get tested. They're going to try to pull you away. And that's the test. Like it could be God or the devil, but it's basically saying, are you ready for the next level? And usually if you're not ready for the next level, you're going to get tricked and you're going to fall into the trap. And then you're going to be like, damn, I shouldn't have did that, you know? So it's stay focused. And, you know what I mean? The hardest things you might go through come before the best breakthroughs. And that's kind of what I was trying to talk about there. But
And can I get the ending word though?
Go ahead.
Always take the stairs.
Yeah.
That's right.
Episode title. That's the episode title
talk
right
to that
now.
one right there. Like we can all say it at the same time to this one.
Boom.
1, 2, 3.
Always take the stairs. Yeah.
Boom.
Perfect. Appreciate you all tuning in. Thank you so much for watching this episode. Thank you, DeRico, for coming on. So you know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, follow. You guys know the drill. I don't need to keep repeating this.
Leave your one-word checkout. Hashtag that one-word checkout. Mine was adversity.
Yeah, mine was reflection.
Grateful.
Boom. Let's get it.
And make sure you guys watch the podcast wherever you watch your podcast and also on YouTube.
Yeah, give the podcast to your mom, dad, to your friends. Let everybody watch it. Check it out. If it resonates with you or someone you know, share it to them.
Yep. Share it around and see you at the next one.
Boom.
So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening to our Feature Friday podcast. And just wanted to make sure that you guys are connected on all platforms. So wherever you're tuning in, maybe even leave us a 5-star review.
If you're watching on YouTube, hit like and subscribe.
And on our social medias as well, you can follow us at ANS Lab or at African Nova Scotian Youth Lab as well on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We got the whole mumble jumble. It'll be in our link tree in our bio.
Don't forget to enter our contest that we have in each episode.
And the way to enter that contest will be sprinkled throughout our episodes, so make sure that you're listening and paying attention.
Each episode may be different, but comment below wherever you are.
And if you don't use social media and you're one of those people, you can even reach out to us by email at anslab@onenorthend.com.
The details are in the episode description.
And last but not least, we want to make sure that we get you guys connected to our resource, our network of resources, the Grapevine newsletters. So to get subscribed, you can check the link in our bio and subscribe yourself. But if you're not that tech savvy, you can also email us at anslab@onenorthend.com and we can get you hooked up.
We'll see you on the next episode.
See you next month.
Feature Friday.
What's your favorite thing about Fridays?
That's a good question.
The features.